Howdy, YouTubers. Christian Watchman here once again with another video. Today I would like to share with you an experience, another one from so many, that my mother had years ago. Okay, before I tell you this, my mom was married to my dad for so many years, and she had to put up with infidelities from my father. My father was, he would get drunk every day. He wasn't faithful to her. He had many lovers. And still my mom, endured all of that. She didn't want to get a divorce. So she put up with all of that for the sake of my brothers and I, which of course I admire. But my father was all of this. Not that he was bad, because my father was not a bad man. He was a good provider. We never lacked anything. Great dad. Very good father. A good heart. My father was a giving person. He would give to people that were poor, didn't have anything. I mean, he was a good person. And I'm glad before he died, he gave his life to Jesus before he died. So I know he's saved. And I know one day I will see him again when I go to heaven. But anyway, my mom one night had a dream that she got into my father's quote-unquote office, because he had an office, like some sort of an office in our house, and nobody was allowed to be there. For some reason, he didn't want us to be there. Of course, later on, we discovered why, but he did not want my mom, me, or my brothers in his office. And in the office, he had some sort of a closet. And we were never allowed to see what was in the closet. So my mom had a dream that she got into his office, and it seemed like the door of the closet was about to burst open. So she opened it up, and all of this, she says that in her dream she saw trash and filth just coming out of that closet. And it was everywhere on the floor, everywhere. And then she tried to, she was like, oh my gosh, all of this garbage, all this filth and trash. So she wanted to get rid of it, and she started throwing everything in a trash can and bringing trash bags to throw everything, all the trash in the trash bag, but it seems like it was not enough. And she says, as soon as I kept on throwing out the garbage and the trash, it's like the closet would produce more and more garbage and more trash and more filth. I could not get rid of it. And then she woke up from that dream. Well, I think a few weeks passed, and for some reason my dad forgot the key to the office in the house, because that's another thing. Nobody could get into the office. He had the keys to go in the office, but he would always carry with the key, so nobody could get into the office. And that particular day, he forgot the keys to the office. So my mom got in, and I don't know if she was curious or not. I don't know how this happened, but I think God allowed for my dad to forget the keys so my mom would discover something that I'm going to tell you right now. She got into the office, and she opened a closet that she saw in the dream that was full of trash and filth and dirt and all of that garbage. As soon as she opened the door of the closet, she saw, wow, I don't know, a lot, not thousands, but hundreds of pornographic magazines that my dad had. And she was amazed. She was like, what is this? She was disappointed, sad, like, oh my gosh, all of the things that I have to put up with. But you can see that before she could discover or find out that my father had stashes of porn magazines in the closet of his office, God revealed that to my mom before in a dream. And my mom later on found out, which is amazing how the Lord works. Well, I can tell you that the same thing happened to me too. Several years. I'm married for the second time because I'm in my second marriage. But I was married previously once. And my husband was not a Christian. We would have differences, and he wouldn't let me go to church. He would always have an excuse to be in the way so I wouldn't go to church, etc. So after, me putting up with him getting drunk and wasting money instead of on food, he would use the money to drink beer, get drunk, smoke, because he used to smoke a lot. He still does, by the way, even though I'm not married to him. He's my ex-husband. And he started being abusive to me. First verbally abusive, psychologically abusive, and then it was something that was not overnight. It was something that it was progressive. So it ended up in physical abuse. So I decided to leave him. I went back to my parents' house to live. And I think like 2 years went by. And then he tried to get back with me. By then I went back to the university and I was, studying, trying to finish my bachelor's degree. And I told him, well, I don't know if I could go back with you. I don't know if you changed. And he was like, yeah, I changed for good, this and that. And I said, well, aren't you with somebody? Because I knew he was a womanizer. And most likely him being alone, well, he probably might have a woman. And he was like, no, I don't have a girlfriend. I'm not with anybody. So I just left it at that. I said, well, let me think about it. Days went by, and one night I had a dream. And in this dream, I saw this woman that was with my ex-husband. And I dreamt about her. She was white. She had blonde hair, but not because she was a natural blonde, but because she would dye her hair blonde. She had blue eyes. And I saw her, and I was like, okay, in my dream, they seemed like they were together. So after that dream, I can't remember very much that dream, but the bottom line is that I dreamt about this woman, okay? And she was with my husband. One of those days, he went to see me, to visit me in the university. And he asked me again, well, did you think about if we are going back together or not? And I said, well, you tell me that you are by yourself, that you don't have a woman. But I think you do. And by this time, even though I didn't have any facts, like I did not actually see him with anybody, I dared to try to say, well, I know you're with somebody. I venture myself to say that as if I knew, or I had concrete proof that I knew he was with somebody. And he said, no, that's impossible. I said, yes, and I know this girl. I've seen her. She's white. Her hair is, curly, blonde. She dyes her hair blonde. She has blue eyes. And he looked at me like, by the look in his face, I knew I just hit in the nail. I was right on the money. And he said, well, how do you know about these things? And I said, well, aren't you? And he said, well, okay, you got me. I'm not going to lie to you. Yes, I'm with her. Her name is Lisbeth. And I was like, oh my gosh. I could not believe myself. I was in shock. But of course, I didn't want to show him that I was struck, because he would find out that I was just testing or, trying my luck. You know what I'm saying? So I was amazed at that. And eventually he left, the girl, and we went back together. We were together for like 4 or 5 years. It didn't work out, and then it ended up in divorce. That's the final thing. But what I'm trying to say here is that God can show you things. He's not going to show you all the time everything. But sometimes he does. And I didn't even ask him for this dream. I just had this dream. It's like God was showing me what was going on beforehand. Years later, I found some pictures that he had of this girl. And when I looked at the pictures, I was amazed. Surprised at how, how I saw this woman in my dreams was the same exact woman in that picture. So yeah, God speaks through dreams. Don't doubt it. And not all the times. Sometimes dreams come from our mind and stuff, but sometimes they do come from God. So yeah, that was my experience. I hope I didn't bore you. I think this video is too long. Anyway, I love you all. In Jesus Christ, God bless you. Until next.